Good morning to Parton's Heritage Homestead. My name is Carrie Parton and we are a Mediterranean homestead. If you are new to this channel, welcome, and I am grateful to have you with us. If you like the content that comes from this channel, please hit the like button and subscribe and share it if you think anybody else can benefit from this. For those who have been with me this whole entire time, welcome home. Alright y'all, so I'm sending out some big hugs. We got some new things going on this week and I cannot wait to get started with you. Hey y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick update on the garden. You got to take a look at this. I'll explain everything here shortly. Let me switch you around. Okay, now here the kids came by and they helped me yesterday. So we used these trellises to put up a shade cloth to protect these peppers, the eggplant, and then the cucumbers and beans. This thing ended up being an amazing sheltering for them. And not only that, the water system that we now have pretty much, I don't know if you can see this, but it's like an overhead rain system. This thing turns out so amazing, y'all. So we now, and that will hit these 3 beds here. So these plants are getting plenty of beautiful water and they're loving this. Good morning, my community family. So what have we got new? I am actually waking up this Monday morning. I seem bright and cheery. I'm really not, because it's pumped up with coffee, but this is not a coffee time moment. This is actually, we got some work to do. Now, I am going to do a brief video on the upgrade of the garden because, and first I gotta say this. You know, I'm going back to the basics of this channel, the one that worked, the one that made me who I am, the one who brought you home in the first place. We're going back to the basics. And one of those basics would be, I need to understand how I got here in the first place. I veered off track and I got into the promotions of doing this and that, and y'all don't understand how stressful that really is. Because when you turn around and show products, there is a very high demand in things that you have to do. I'm free from that right now, y'all. This isn't for me. I'm just going to keep this channel the way I have it, and I'm going to be grateful for what I have, because honestly, it's God who led me here in the first place. Let me turn this off. Okay, sorry about that. So, back to what I was saying, it was God who led me here in the first place. He's the one that had given me all this wisdom and knowledge to be able to share it with you. So, I need to go back to where I belong, back to my roots, and be able to keep this homestead the way it was. So, I've already apologized, and I still do today, but we're moving forward from here. So, the garden, I had some shade cloths that I had over the 20 footers last year. Now I figured, well, there's no way of using them, and I didn't know how until I got to thinking. So I tend to have to slow down my brain because I'm an overthinker, and it drives me nuts. I have this OCD mentality that everything has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, I am less than. There was a lot of things in my life that helped create the way I am today. But it's a struggle because I do get anxiety, I do have OCD, and I have PTSD, and all of these drive me absolutely crazy. So I figured that I got to do this and that all at the same time, all at once, or it just ain't going to get done. That's not true. So I took a breather, and I looked back at that beautiful garden. For one, I had to sit back and say, thank you, Lord, because He led and guided me to every little step that progressed from those raised beds to the plants, to the trellises, and now the next step. And so, looking back, it was like a breath of fresh air, and I took a deep breath, and I shed tears because it was the most amazing garden I have ever had in my entire life that I started homesteading, which was 5 years ago. So I had to thank the Lord. And then I looked over at the 20 footers, which was standing with a useless shade cloth, and thought, why am I not using that? It's a waste to just let it sit there and deteriorate. So I called my son to see if he would help me, and him and his family came out, and actually I got more of a blessing than I ever thought out of that situation. But it was, I know they have a life of their own, so it was a chance, and they actually came out. So we put that shade cloth up. We managed to cover 3 out of 4 of those trellises, which was so cool. Now, I have the bell peppers covered, I have the eggplants shaded, I have the beans shaded, and so the cucumbers are partially shaded by the tree as it stands. So I have this beautiful cooled off effect for all the plants. They are thriving on it. The ones I couldn't get, unfortunately, are the tomatoes because, well, they bypass the trellis. So there's no way I can actually try to cover those. I'm just going to have to keep doing what I do. And then there was another thought. It made sense. I've seen all of these videos about watering your plants from the bottom and all this stuff, and I get that, y'all. But there's this thing called God thoughts, and He will ask me, oh my goodness, these thoughts will come to my mind, and they come in questions is, how do I water the trees? How does the ground get watered? How do the flowers or the wild gets watered? And they get watered from overhead. They get watered from the sky, from the clouds, from the rain. And I was like, where's this leading? So those hose lines that my husband made me was a fantastic idea. Now I would have to pull each line out to be able to water them from below and put them in each bed. And I was doing that, but sometimes it can be a struggle. And then my son, after this thought came up, I'm thinking, where is this leading? So it came to the point my son asked the question, Mom, why don't you make this easier on you and take these trellises, which again used for a third purpose. The first purpose is to hang the plant or hang string down to vertical upright my plants. There's number one. Number two wound up being a great pavilion to put shade cloth over. And now comes number three, taking those lines that my husband built, weaving them like an S, and making an overhead rainforest for my garden. It worked perfectly. It was just like the rain was watering on top of all of these plants. And then the bonus of it all, believe this or not, it was hot, y'all. It was 100 degrees when we were doing all this. And what did we do? That rainforest effect gave us a way to walk through those raised beds, and yeah, we hit the sprinkler system above. It was like walking through the rain. The four of us, well, me, my son, and my daughter-in-law, and the grandkids were getting soaked, but it felt so good. We just had fun. So it gave me an idea. If I'm working out, I know this is crazy. I'm 50-something years old and I'm playing in an overhead sprinkler for my garden. But it was freedom. And that's what God intended me to be in the first place. When it comes to this channel, it's freedom. There should be no stress about this. And you know what? This is where I have to apologize again. Because I had that freedom. I had this channel built from the beginning to where everyone felt loved. Everyone felt at home. This was their place. And when I started incorporating the worldly things of products, which sometimes it's okay, but I honestly look back and there was quite a bit. And the stress was getting to me. And you know, it's no wonder I started losing everybody. So hopefully I can gain everybody's trust again. Hopefully we'll get back to where we belong. And hopefully we can have fun, just like me and the kids did, under a makeshift gardening waterfall. I literally look back at this and it looks like a rainforest. And if I get hot outside while I'm watering my plants, I can walk right under those in between the beds and just get soaked. And it was so cool because it feels natural. To the plants, it's natural because this effect is watering them just like the rain. And so I don't have to get technical about things. It's called keeping it simple. God doesn't water from the ground up. He waters from the above down. So that's how He rains upon our blessings. And I was missing my blessings. And my biggest blessing, I'm going to say this right now, my biggest blessing was you. And I lost a lot. And so therefore, that is my biggest regret. Material things come and go. But friendship, dedication, relationships, and trust, that takes time to work, and once you have it, you really don't want to lose it. So we're going to go forward. What we are going to do today is we're going to be doing some baking. Now I will tell you, I'm not doing much canning right now. Yesterday, like I said, just the temps alone was 100 degrees. Y'all, it wasn't supposed to get that high. It was only supposed to be 93, but it was 100. But with our heat index, it was about 107 degrees, if not more. So it was darn right hot. And at that point, it makes everything, even in this house, hard. We are pushing a lot of things. So I'm not going to push it even more. I'm already pushing it by baking. So I'm not going to be canning or nothing like that right now. Personally, everything, it's kind of interesting, but everything is slowed down from the growth of the vegetables. The flowers are falling off as it is. Everything is just trying to pretty much survive. And I get that. So I'm giving it time. Even the chickens, they stop laying eggs because it's just darn right hot. And personally, if I was a chicken, I wouldn't want to lay an egg right now anyways. Honestly, I'm going to leave everything to get a break, and I'm going to take that break too. But this old girl wants something wholesome, sweet, and I want something good. And one thing that I keep seeing when I have to go to the grocery store is these big, beautiful muffins with the tarotine crystal sugars on top, and it's a temptation. And when I look at that temptation, my mind goes to, you know that's not good for you. And I'm like, yeah, so I don't buy it. So I come home and know that all I have to do is pull out the mill, make some flour, and make some apple cinnamon muffins with that beautiful sugar on top. And instead of actual sugar, we're going to use honey. So today, we're going to make some apple cinnamon muffins because I'm wanting something good like that for breakfast. Or, well, maybe dessert. It's good, okay? So, let's go in the kitchen and let's do some baking. Okay, y'all, so I am going to be milling, and we're going to be using spelt for this recipe. But if you do not have whole grains or you don't mill, this recipe is not lost to you. I need 4.5 cups of spelt, which I'm going to be milling 3 cups. But if you do not mill, you need 4 cups of whole wheat flour to make this recipe. So you can make this recipe without having to mill it. So I am going to be adding 3 cups of this spelt to my mill, and then turning this into my flour. So go ahead and measure this out. And if I get enough extra or whatever, I can always freeze it like I've been doing it, because I find I use it for different purposes, like my fried green tomatoes and stuff like that. So there is my grain. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on my mill, and we are going to turn this into flour and move on to the next step. So I'll set my grain to fine, turn this on, and we'll be back. In case y'all were wondering what kind of mill I'm using, I'm actually using the Nutri-Mill Classic for this one, where all my flour goes into my container down here. I actually like this. I use both this one and the stone mill behind me for different purposes, and both of these work as a great team. Alright, so we have everything milled, so now we're just going to go ahead and get 4.5 cups of my spelt flour. For those who are milling, any ancient grain or soft white wheat will work for this recipe. You want to kind of avoid the bread sources like the glutens of hard white wheat and hard red wheat. You want to go with ones that are mainly for pastries, like soft white wheat. You can use einkorn, emmer, spelt. Any of those will work for this recipe. Or again, if you don't mill, no big deal. You can actually do a whole wheat version, but you have to use a little less flour than what I have to. So you use 4 cups versus, and that's what the recipe is using 4 cups of flour versus 4.5. I will be giving you the link to this recipe. Again, it is not mine, so I give credit to where it comes from. So there's 3, and I need 1 more cup. So let me get this put in here, and then I will go ahead with the rest of the ingredients. Okay, y'all, so we have our 4.5 cups of flour, I am going to be adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 4 teaspoons of cinnamon in here, and I need 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm using Himalayan sea salt, like so. Now I'm going to go ahead, that is all our dry ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and mix this all together. I'm going to be needing to use about 3 apples. Use the apples of your choice. I'm going to be using Granny Smith, but I will be grating these apples, so, and peeling them. So I'm going to get that ready as well, and then we're going to add our liquid ingredients to this and get started on filling up our muffins. Okay, so the simplicity to this is just peeling your apple. I'm going to go ahead and add this, by the way, because I'm going to show you how this is done. I've never had it this easy, y'all, before, ever. I've actually never grated apples before, but it kind of makes sense, and it's actually super easy. So I'm going to show you what to do on this one. So basically, you're just going to peel your apple, and you're going to grade just down to the core. That's it. Go all the way around just until you can get to the core part of this, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then once I get this done, we will go on to the next of our ingredients. And that's it, y'all. Right down to the core. I don't have to do no more to this. That's it. So that was super easy. Now just add my apples into my mix, and we're ready for the next set of ingredients. So I wanted to show that right quick to you, so see what it looks like, and we're ready to move on. Oops, sorry about that, y'all. Throwing stuff around. Okay, so we'll move on to the next. Okay, so now on to our liquid ingredients. I am going to lightly beat a couple eggs here. We got 2 eggs. These are farm fresh. The recipe calls for 1 cup of butter, and with the price of butter these days, it's hard, but same thing with oil. So you can use 1 cup of butter, you can use a cup of melted coconut oil, even, you know, honestly, y'all, if you can only afford to do vegetable oil, any source of oil that is a neutral flavor is what you can use in this. So, and now we need 1 cup of honey. So I'm going to add now, because I'm using the same cup, I'm just going to go ahead and add this honey, and next will be 2 cups of buttermilk, and then we just mix this all together. This is going to finish off my jar of honey here. I used honey a lot before I used sugar. I'm going to end up probably getting another jar of honey here. Hang on, y'all. Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to get another jar of honey, because this is going to finish this jar off. So I'll be right back. I definitely need to get another thing of honey. We'll be back. Okay, y'all, so I finally got enough honey to do this recipe. And then I'm going to use 2 cups of buttermilk. This recipe makes at least 12 to 24 of the regular cupcake size muffins, or unless you're like me, I'm doing my jumbos. So I get at least 6 to 8 out of the jumbo ones. I kind of like my jumbo muffins in the morning for breakfast. Alright, so now I'm going to turn around and get my buttermilk. We need 2 cups of this. Ooh, y'all, I just made it to this. Barely. I need to get some more buttermilk too, it seems. Alright, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go get some more buttermilk because I've got biscuits I like to make with this too. And I like buttermilk in my dressings. So, let's get this put away and we'll come back and mix this. Alright, so we do not need, as you're seeing here, we do not need a special mixer. Just an old-fashioned spoon and a bowl because we do not want to overmix this. Now you will find that maybe your stuff will absorb a little bit faster than what it does for me if you are using store-bought flour. For me it takes it a little bit to absorb, so this will get thickened up. And for those of you who are using fresh milled for this, you don't need to actually let this sit. You don't need to sift it or anything like that because this is pretty much one of those type of muffins you want rustic. So you can let this sit for a few minutes if you choose to, but this thickens up pretty nicely. It's just a good size batter. Now I'm going to prepare my muffin pan. My oven has been preheating at 400 degrees. So now it's just getting my muffin pan and making sure that this is just mixed enough without over mixing it. And all of my flour and everything's incorporated well, so let's work on getting the muffin now. Okay, y'all, so I only have one jumbo pan and it's got 6, and I also have the jumbo silicone liners that go inside of this, so it's just going to make it easier. And I'm going to go with variety of colors for this. Actually, I don't want the dark one. I'll go with this next lighter. Put that up there, and we got our greens. So now we're just going to go ahead and we want to fill these to the rim. Now they will rise high and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up because we are going to fill some muffins, and then I'm going to show you what we do with the tops of them. Alright y'all, so now we're just going to fill this to the rim. Now I probably should, you know what, I will have to use an ice cream scoop. It'll make it simpler. Now we got this. So just to let you know, I already made this recipe and it is absolutely amazing. The difference though is this time I used the grated apples. The first time I did make these, I used my dehydrated apples, and it was good, don't get me wrong, but it was slightly dry. So I'm thinking, and I went with 1 cup of butter at that time too. So this time I'm going with an oil and freshly grated apples and see if that makes a difference. So I'm just going ahead, as you see, we're going right to the rim. We want to make sure that these are fully incorporated to that rim of these cups. And yes, it will rise up, y'all. And I do put another pan under this just in case. I'm using an ice cream scoop because it's a whole lot easier to keep it cleaner as well. I'll have to come back and touch these up. I am definitely going to get at least, yeah, I'm going to get over 6 of these, so this is going to be amazing. And these are absolutely freezable. So if you make too much and you decided that you want to make some extras, you can freeze them, pop them out when you want them for breakfast, and on the go. Yeah, that one might be too much. Hold on just a minute. Yeah, I overdid this one, y'all. So we'll just scrape some of this off and put it into the next one. Distribute the overflows. That's it. Because I just want to go to the rim of this. This one here is slightly overfilled as well. I got one more here that I can distribute it to. Just a little bit of this. There we go. So now this is ready to go in the oven, and these will go. Now this one will take slightly longer. If you are using the cupcake one, it takes 20 to 23 minutes. These take anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. I'm just make sure that the centers, when I stick it with a toothpick, that the centers come out clean. So make sure you check that, and we will be right back when these are finished. Yeah, I forgot one thing. So I am actually using sugar in the raw, the crystals on the top, and I'm sprinkling those crystals right on the top like you see at the grocery store. We're just going to sprinkle this one, but we're using, like I said, I'm using the sugar in the raw. These work just as amazing compared to the ones you get at the grocery store. I think they're called how do you pronounce it? Turbinado sugar. It's the kosher salt to the baked goods. Alright, now we can get these in the oven. Alright, y'all, and here we are. Here is our, now these are these big muffins that you get at the grocery store. Some great big ones like so. And that is my breakfast. So, I will include the recipe in the description box below for you. Hope you enjoy this, and like I said, this recipe is versatile for those who mill and who don't mill. And I will put in the description for both occasions. So, I hope you enjoyed being in the kitchen with me. I have a lot more work to do today. I love you all, and until next time, much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.